Welcome back to our channel. Today, we're diving into a thrilling action horror movie that blends suspense, terror, and the unexpected. This is the story of an elite hitman who takes on what seems like a straightforward job, eliminating a famous toymaker. However, what happens next will leave you on the edge of your seat as the hunter becomes the hunted by a force he never saw coming. Let's get into the gritty details of Toymaker's vengeance. The mission begins. In the dead of night, under a moonless sky, Jason Renshaw, a cold, calculating, and efficient hitman, drives towards his next target. The job is simple, or so it seems. Eliminate Hans Morris, a renowned toymaker who has captured the hearts of millions with his intricate, lifelike toys. But to Jason, Hans is just another name on a long list of people who crossed the wrong person. Jason parks his car outside the toy factory, shrouded in darkness, taking his time to scout the location. The factory is silent, the machines dormant for the night, except for the dim light spilling out from the workshop. Inside, Hans Morris is meticulously inspecting his latest creations. His movements are methodical, almost loving, as he checks each toy, ensuring they meet his high standards. His pride and joy tonight is a limited edition music box featuring a delicate fairy that spins to a haunting yet soothing tune. Mesmerized, Hans takes the fairy with him as he finishes up and locks the workshop behind him. Hans heads to his office, accessible only with a special key card, oblivious to the danger lurking just outside. In his office, he pauses, gazing at an old photograph of his mother, who signed it with love and a small, playful doodle of a smiling face. It's a cherished memory, one that brings a rare smile to the toymaker's otherwise serious demeanor. Outside, Jason watches Hans through his rifle scope, his mind already calculating the quickest, cleanest way to finish the job. With a cold precision, Jason prepares himself, covering his shoes to avoid leaving any trace, slipping on gloves, and affixing a silencer to his gun. His face is masked and hidden beneath a hat. He's a ghost, moving silently in the shadows. Inside the factory, a security guard hears an odd noise. Curious, he steps out of his booth and finds a phone placed near the entrance, with a message displayed: "Bomb set to explode." His heart races as the countdown begins on the screen. In a panic, he swipes his key card to open the door, intending to throw the phone outside. But before he can act, Jason silently steps up behind him and shoots a tranquilizer dart into the guard's neck. The guard crumples to the ground, unconscious. Jason moves quickly, disabling the bomb, a simple decoy meant to draw attention, then pockets the guard's keys and hides the body. He's a master of his craft, moving with the confidence of someone who's done this countless times. Jason checks the security cameras, noticing another guard patrolling the area. Without hesitation, he disables the cameras with the stolen key and stalks his next target. One more dart, and the second guard is down, rendered unconscious in Jason's steely grip. With the path clear, Jason ascends to the CEO's office. As the door opens, Hans turns around, a look of surprise and fear flashing across his face. He doesn't even have time to scream before Jason fires several shots, ending his life instantly. The room falls into a deathly silence. The only sound is the faint music from the shattered fairy music box that had fallen to the floor. Jason, ever the professional, checks Hans's pulse to confirm his death. As he looks around the room, he notices the broken photo frame and the peculiar signature from Hans's mother. It lingers in his mind, a small but strange detail. Jason then picks up the music box, listens to the eerie melody for a moment, and decides to take it with him. A trophy from the kill, perhaps, or maybe just a trinket to satisfy his curiosity. Within minutes, Jason is on a plane, leaving the city behind. Using a burner phone, he texts his employer, confirming the kill and requesting payment. As he waits, the passenger next to him asks for some gum. Jason obliges, but as he reaches into his bag, he catches a glimpse of the fairy music box. Something about it unsettles him. It seems to stare back at him, almost mockingly. Shaking off the feeling, Jason hands over the gum and tries to relax for the remainder of the flight. Hours later, Jason arrives at the airport and sees news reports about Hans's murder. The police have already linked it to a professional hit, and while the public is shocked, Jason is unfazed until he notices a child on the escalator holding a toy that unnerves him. It's one of Hans's creations, a lifelike baby doll that seems to follow him with its eyes. Jason's discomfort grows, but he dismisses it as post-job jitters. Back at his apartment, Jason can't shake the eerie feeling. As he steps inside, he's greeted by a toy duck floating in his pool, another creation by Hans. He stares at it for a long moment, the unease building, before he finally decides to leave it outside on the balcony. After a hot shower, Jason retrieves the fairy music box from his bag and places it in a glass cabinet where he keeps a memento from each of his victims. The room is filled with similar trinkets, each with a story of its own, a dark trophy room for a dark man. Jason checks his computer and sees that his payment has been transferred. There's also a new job waiting for him in London, but before diving into it, he decides to get some rest. In the evening, Jason is awoken by the sound of his doorbell. Checking the security camera, he sees the receptionist dropping off a package. No sender information, odd, but not unusual in his line of work. What does catch his attention is the little face drawn on the package, identical to the one on Hans's mother's photo. A sense of dread creeps in as Jason carefully opens the package, half expecting it to be a trap. To his surprise, it's just a box of toy soldiers, complete with miniature weapons and vehicles, branded with Hans' logo and a sticker that reads, "Bonus Surprise." Jason cautiously inspects the toys, looking for any hidden dangers, but finds nothing out of the ordinary. However, his unease only grows when the box suddenly falls off the counter on its own. Jason's instincts are screaming that something is wrong. He examines the room, searching for any sign of tampering, but everything appears normal, until he notices the box is now empty. His heart races as he hears a rustling behind the curtains. Jason leaps to investigate, but again finds nothing. Then the lamp flickers and dies, the cord severed, as if by an unseen hand. His nerves on edge, Jason feels a sharp pain in his foot and discovers a tiny toy weapon on the floor, something that should be harmless, but it has drawn blood. Suddenly, from under the furniture, a barrage of tiny bullets starts peppering Jason, leaving painful, albeit small, wounds. He dives for cover, realizing the situation has gone from strange to outright dangerous. What happens next is a nightmarish battle of survival. Now armed with miniature weapons that somehow pack a real punch, the toy soldiers emerge from the shadows, launching a coordinated assault on Jason. No bigger than a pencil, missiles explode with enough force to burn through his clothes and skin. Desperate, Jason fights back, but these are no ordinary toys. They're faster, stronger, and seem to have a mind of their own. The fight escalates as Jason manages to take down some of the soldiers, but more keep coming, flying helicopters that swoop down to slice at him with their rotors. His apartment, once a haven, is now a war zone, filled with fire, smoke, and the smell of burning electronics. The relentless assault drives Jason to retreat into his bathroom, where he tries to catch his breath and tend to his wounds, but the soldiers are relentless. Even as Jason bandages his injuries, they find ways to breach his defenses. A missile blows a hole through the bathroom door, and a toy helicopter flies in, only to be captured and crushed by Jason in a fit of rage. But the moment of victory is short-lived. Another missile follows, forcing Jason to once again flee for his life. The apartment is in shambles as Jason returns to the fray, armed with a makeshift flamethrower. He scorches the toy soldiers, turning them into melted plastic and twisted metal. But the toys are nothing if not persistent. They regroup, launch new attacks, and even manage to shoot down the rubber duck in the pool. A seemingly innocent toy that now lies lifeless, a casualty of the bizarre war. Jason's rage reaches a boiling point as he systematically destroys the remaining soldiers, smashing them to pieces with brutal efficiency. But just as he thinks it's over, he realizes there's something more sinister at play. He counts the pieces, checks the numbers on the box, but it doesn't add up. Something is missing. The silence is unnerving. Jason, now bleeding and battered, stumbles through the wreckage of his apartment, searching for the last soldier. The unease from before has returned, stronger than ever. As he searches, he hears the faint tune of the fairy music box, playing on its own. It's coming from the cabinet where he left it. Slowly, Jason approaches the cabinet, gun at the ready. The music is louder now, filling the room with its eerie melody. He hesitates, then opens the cabinet door, expecting an ambush. But instead, he finds the music box, intact and playing its tune. As he reaches for it, the last toy soldier strikes, lunging from behind a stack of books with a tiny but lethal knife. Jason barely dodges the attack, and a frantic struggle ensues. The soldier, though small, is incredibly strong and fast, moving with precision and intent to kill. Jason finally manages to crush the soldier underfoot, but not before it delivers a parting shot, a tiny dart filled with a deadly toxin. As the toxin takes hold, Jason stumbles to the couch, the world blurring around him. His vision darkens, the music box still playing its haunting tune, echoing in his mind as he loses consciousness. Hours later, Jason wakes up, the effects of the toxin wearing off. But something is different. His movements are sluggish, his limbs heavy. He tries to stand, but his legs refuse to cooperate. Panicked, he looks down and realizes with horror that he's been transformed. His body is now a lifeless doll, a twisted creation like those Hans once made. In the reflection of the shattered mirror, Jason sees himself, a tiny plastic version of the man he once was, trapped in a motionless body. The realization hits him like a ton of bricks. Hans wasn't just a toy maker. He was a vengeful sorcerer, using his creations to exact revenge from beyond the grave. The movie ends with a chilling final shot of Jason's doll form placed on a shelf next to the music box, as it plays its eerie melody again. The screen fades to black, and the credits roll, leaving the audience with the unsettling thought that the Toymaker's vengeance is far from over. And that's the end of Toymaker's Vengeance. It's a gripping tale of horror and suspense that leaves you questioning what's real and what's not. If you enjoyed this recap, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit